Thank you, JT. Thank you, listeners, and thank you for the questions because I have a couple of pretty good ones here. So I hope you're tuned in to the folks that asked them. And we'll just preempt tomorrow by saying Happy Memorial Day and thank you for all those that have served our country and are serving currently. Thank you. My first question was, do all bears rock and spring towards a tree when climbing like Lucky does? Lucky does think about it. Lucky's a big bear. He's 400 pounds, and usually we think that big bears like that don't generally climb. But Lucky proves us different, that he does climb. And yes, he does think about it, and he does launch himself up the tree. It's quite an effort because he is taking with him 400 plus pounds of weight. Now, I've seen Holly run at the tree and jump and climb also. She is 200 pounds less, but still does that. Now, Tasha at a dud run just hits the tree and goes straight up. So maybe it's a difference in the weight. Maybe it's because Lucky does think about it. Is it worth the effort of climbing? Remember, they're opportunistic, and when there's an opportunity to get food, is it worth the effort for him to get it? And when he climbs up to get the food off the trolley, it's absolutely worth his effort to go ahead and get those treats that's been placed on there for him. In the wild, would you see that? Not sure. We know that the females, I've seen a 300-pound female climb a tree. So I think that it's effortless for them to climb. But I think there has to be an opportunity here for Lucky. Now, when he and Holly are playing, yes, he climbs the trees. He climbs the white pine or the cub tree. He climbs the pat tree and the honey tree. And also they play a great deal of time back in the cedars. So to answer that question, yes, I've seen him do it. And yes, he does launch himself. But so does Holly on occasion. What questions did the kindergarteners ask when they were there? Well, we each took out a group of 20. There was 2 of us working that day, taking the groups out. And they did ask questions. They wanted to know, first of all, how big is Ted? Well, at that point, he was 549 pounds. So how many times were we asked that? Many. How many times were we asked how old each bear was? Many, many times. Usually the same question right after that question was asked, the next child would ask, how big is he or how old is he? Another question that the teachers asked was, do they hibernate here? And our question was, yes. Each of them are provided with an area to hibernate in, although we don't make them within the 2.5 acres if they'd like to dig their own den. As we have seen in the past, Holly and Tasha do. They are perfectly capable of digging their own den in the woods or near the rocky parts of the enclosure. When Tasha is on her back, is she submitting to Holly? Absolutely she is. Last year, Lucky put her down on her back, and she did the same thing. She was submitting to the older bear. Does that mean that she will continue to do it? I think it's all about play right now, but it's also about Holly making sure that Tasha knows the rules of the enclosure. She is the dominant female, and she wants Tasha to respect that. One of the cute questions, does Holly still vocalize? Of course, when Heidi and I are around Holly, of course, she acts like a little girl and a little girl cub. And so, yes, she does vocalize. She has different ways of vocalizing to Lucky when she thinks he's hurting her. She's very dramatic about it and very loud, and it scares Lucky and he backs off. And perhaps that's why she does that. She does blow at Tasha sometimes. It's cute. Sometimes she means it. Most of the time, bears mean it when they're blowing at each other. And she very often huffs and blows at Lucky. So, yes, Holly does still vocalize. Will Ted get his pool? We have not determined that yet. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. But we're waiting for some things to be answered for us. One of the things that we're watching is Ted. And Ted is doing very well swimming this year. Many of you have seen him using the pond, where last year he didn't. He kind of sat in the overflow area, but now he's swimming. So we're happy that he is, and he's getting showers during the day, and we put back in his smaller pool. Why does their fur look blue? That has to be an issue maybe with the lens, because I don't see any blue in their coats when I'm looking at them. What I do see often is the reddish brown, and that is and you folks that are on the deck, what Lucky is doing right now is he is marking. You saw him walk over that bush right there, that clump of trees. He's leaving a scent or laying his scent. And he wants Holly to recognize that that's his scent right there. Or Ted. If Ted comes, he will do it too. So getting back to the blue fur. I've not seen that in their coats, but I have seen the reddish brown with it, which is the undercoat being raked out by the shrubs and bushes that they're going through here. Yes, they are eating dandelions. You can see them most readily if you're looking down from the camera, but our viewers that are here through the windows see them eating dandelions right in front of the windows, and it's kind of cool to see them doing that. I did not see any ground hornets on the mound. I walked the mound extensively several times the other day, or last Saturday and Sunday, and I did see some areas where the bears were digging, but I did not see any ground hornets near the mound. And the last question, which I thought was in particularly kind of neat, and it's about Holly cleaning the dens out. Well, what I've noticed about Holly is that Holly likes a nice, clean den, which means she doesn't like debris. She doesn't like the leaves and the wood that Tasha put in her den in 2017 or 2016, because as you remember, Holly did den in 2015 and came out in 16 when Tasha arrived. And it was a nice flat area, and it was nice and cool in there with nothing on the floor of the den. And then Tasha came along and put in leaves, and she chewed up bark, and she put in little twigs, and she made herself a nice little bed in there. The following spring, Holly went in and cleaned it all out. Well, this year, or let's say the 2017 into 18 hibernation season, Tasha raked in less than 12 hours a whole bedding outfit. She had leaves and twigs and all the debris that she could find around her den. She had it not only inside of her den, but she had built up a little area outside of her den. Along comes Holly after hibernation. She goes into the den, and everything is flying out of the den. And now that little, so to speak, 1 foot by 18 inches that Holly had, or Tasha had banked up during and before hibernation, Holly has about a 3-foot mound outside the den now. So she's cleaned everything out of that den. And is she thinking about using it or maybe making it bigger for herself? We won't know until October. So I hope you folks keep asking those questions, and I hope I'm answering them sufficiently for you. And with that, we will be talking to you again at 11 o'clock in the morning. And thank you all for following us. Have a great day.